You are listening to the We Hired a Sitter for This podcast.
We hired a sitter for this.
We have a roster of like 7 sitters.
I'm spending $3,000 on paints.
Do you go to therapy?
Never have, nah.
There was a small fire. I put it out.
Real talk, the stakes are too high with my baby.
Comedy, parenting, married, life.
We do it all.
I'm a dad and I'm busy.
I have an opinion. I don't know if it'll be right, but
I'm Patrick.
my name is Gastor.
We hired a sitter.
Peg, come here. Come to me. I'll pick you up. All right, we got Peggy Pickles in the house for
Peggy Pickles.
We Hired a Sitter for This.
What's good, Peggy?
I don't know if she's in the frame. Hi, Peggy. Hi, Peggy. Go lay down. Go lay down. This is episode 146 of We Hired a Sitter for This. Peggy's our sitter.
Amen.
She's going to go lay down on her blankie. I have to say, I just started this session peeing in front of you, and I want to check in. Is it okay that I peed with the door open and we were chatting? Are we there yet?
I think there's enough distance that I think that was cool because it felt more like bathroom, different stalls.
Yeah, and
You know?
and we're in an environment where it feels like we're backstage. It's like a green room situation or studio environment. Maybe that's the green room, dressing room. I was peeing with the door open. I did close it till it was like a 4-inch gap.
Right.
Which my equipment won't fit through a 4-inch gap, but I don't even know if that's a big or a small joke.
Yeah.
But I was doing it, and I'm like, I'm doing a thing that I kind of hate when people do it to me. Recently, two Memorial Days ago, we brought Franny on a trip to see my family. We went up to Westchester to some petting zoo so that everybody could meet halfway.
Okay.
And my dad was there, and we're talking face to face, me, him, and Franny's playing on a tractor. There's a tractor in a barn. My dad, we went rogue at this petting zoo. We're like going through backstage areas where we're definitely not supposed to be. And my kid is 3 feet from me because she's on top of the tractor and on the seat. My dad's on the other side of the tractor talking. And then he just takes it out and starts pissing.
That's wild work. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That's inappropriate.
Understatement.
And I'm like, my kid is right there. She doesn't need to see your old ass dick right now. I don't really want to see it or get splashed. I mean, I was probably 6 feet from him. He's on the other side of the machine, but like, that's a splash zone.
Were there walls?
No, this is outside. Broad daylight. We're in a barn. It's like a barn space.
So,
but he which is that's his comfort zone. But he doesn't know this farm. He's like 2 counties away.
I have a strong like one visible penis per room rule.
Yes.
Like I feel adamant about that.
There's an equation.
There's an equation, you know, like if there's a baby's the only penis that could be out if it's being changed.
Yes.
If there's an adult, it could be out, but everybody has to be consensual, one at a time. I don't know. I'm really pro on that.
What
but
if
outdoors is interesting because like I gotta tell you, one of the great joys I've had is peeing outside, and like there's nothing like it. I own a home in Brooklyn. I'm very proud of it, and there's a lot of things that I've experienced as a homeowner that have genuinely like made me feel more accomplished as a person, as a man.
Sure.
The struggles that you deal with, fixing things, but the peak of home ownership to me is coming home, parking the car, needing to pee, and not going into the house. Just saying, screw it, I'm here, it's my yard.
Yeah.
And just peeing.
Yeah.
It's free. You don't got to aim. It just goes where it goes.
Do you go in the grass or like against the wall or in a corner?
I go in the corner just because there's windows. So other buildings, I want to be respectful. But like, I'm not like, but also I don't go all the way in either like I would like at a urinal. Like, you know, I got to respect the ricochet.
And you want to feel the feeling of freedom.
Exactly.
You want to
like,
be
I
one
want the
with
fresh
the
air
planet.
to like, you know, do all it does around my stuff. You know, so I want to be a part of that moment. You know, like, I find it highly refreshing. I feel like, have you ever used like Dr. Squatch's like deodorant?
No, but that's like a big comedy thing right now.
Yeah.
Everybody's
like, I'm a fan of it. It smells great and it feels naturey.
Yeah.
That's what my stuff feels like when I pee outside.
Yeah.
Like, when I put that under my arms, it reminded me of that feeling of
Yeah.
just peeing outside. It felt great.
Now, have you ever combined I know you're not a fan of going into the ocean and things like that, but have you ever peed at the edge of the ocean?
No, that feels disrespectful again because I feel like people use that water.
Yeah, but it's all part of the same thing. It's like we're all that water. We are all the same molecules of piss. That's one of my favorite science ideas is like there's only so many molecules of oxygen and hydrogen on Earth, I guess.
Okay.
And if you think about it, you have breathed molecules that were breathed by Julius Caesar or other amazing people. So I think about that with piss. Like when I'm taking a piss, I might be pissing out ammonia particles that were also passed by Thomas Jefferson.
That's kind of fire.
Or Ben Franklin. Maybe he took the same piss I took, or at least a piece of it.
You've seen those like dollar bills that say like follow this dollar.
Yeah.
I wish we could do that with P molecules. That'd be dope.
I wish I could piss money actually, because I piss it away plenty.
That's fire.
But you're back to your one penis per room policy. That obviously doesn't work for consenting adults. If two people with penises want to be having sex in the same room, then that's a different arrangement.
So yes and no, because there's still only one penis visible with most of the acts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, one act you're
one,
hiding. You're hiding one. Yeah.
You're hiding.
Yeah.
You're not facing each other with that one, so only one penis is visible per person.
I like picturing you wearing a referee shirt and a whistle, and you just managing these situations.
Like, yeah, it's a double penis.
We got a double penis violation in
flag
the bedroom.
On the play, you know what I mean? Real talk.
He said flag.
Yeah, I'm pro all of that, but like, yeah, I feel like just for strategic purposes, for focus, it should be one at a time. So yeah. I'm if you engage, that's great. I'm like sincerely happy for you. You found love, but take turns.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Share the wealth, share the penis, and let's be civilized about it. Let's
make one penis feel special. That's all I'm saying, and then make the other penis feel special.
Give them the light. Share the spotlight.
Real talk.
And get a little tiny spotlight to highlight which one is on stage at what time.
I like that.
So we need a referee and a lighting director for the next time.
Every time. Real talk.
Yeah.
Gay couples, if you're out there, you need me. Let me know. I'm not against it. I'll referee the game. Did
your dad pee a lot in front of you in wide open?
Nah. Again, I feel like I've seen my dad penis maybe once. It's just not a
you
thing
said
we
that.
do.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Yeah,
we don't really do that. It's not something I think about, but it's not something that like we have like we kind of just have an understanding of like that's not yours.
Yeah.
You don't need to be visible with that.
Right, so we recorded last on Saturday. On Sunday, I took Franny to the beach. I'll tell the truth. It's Tuesday now. I took Franny to the beach solo on Sunday, and by the time we got down there, I had to pee so bad. So I pushed her in the stroller to the public restroom at Rockaway Beach, and I had to bring her in with me because I'm alone. I can't just let her sit outside. So we went all the way to the corner, and I told her, first of all, don't get out of the stroller because I very strategically set up all our gear on there where if she were to get out, the weight would just topple the stroller over. And the last thing you want is your stroller and all your belongings on the floor of the public restroom at Rockaway Beach. That's how diseases get started. That's where COVID came from, actually. So I put her in place and I said, just stay here. Don't look at anything. And then I stood in front of her and peed into the urinal. I had my back to her, but there's a ton of people coming and going. So I'm just thinking about her perspective. She's like 2.5 feet off the ground in a sitting position or whatever. And just around her is like, she couldn't see anyone else either, the way I parked her. But I was just thinking of that point of view when you're at that age, like all the different things you see and like, is she going to remember? Yeah, my dad used to make me watch him piss at the beach.
Well, like, I mean, that's different. You didn't make her watch. Like, yo, you look at my penis, okay? Yeah. That's a different thing,
Respect the flow.
That'd be wild.
Yeah.
I honestly think they blocked that out. Like, I don't think that's, not because it's traumatic, but because it's not, actually. Like, I think it's just dad doing weird dad adult stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't need to care about this. It's not interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's fine, and you did the right thing. You brought your daughter in. You were still being a respectful parent. I think most adults are like on board with that. They get it. You know what I mean? We're New Yorkers. We're in a busy spot. So,
Yeah.
you gotta pee, but you still being a good dad.
And also here in our 1-bedroom apartment, we have literally 2 rooms. We have the living room and the bedroom, a little kitchen and a little bathroom. Like bathroom stuff, we're all talking about bathroom stuff. We all notice each other doing bathroom stuff. I've taken plenty of number 2s duo style with Franny while she's on her little potty. I mean, we don't make a thing of it. I'm not trying to plan this out, but it has happened a few times now.
It's poo-poo time.
Yeah, and it's just like we're literally sitting there chatting and making eye contact while we're both have things happening. So
yeah, we share the bathroom in my home, but never while using the toilet. Like even when they were kids, like that was a separate thing. But like now, if you need to use the bathroom while someone's showering, we allow you in.
Yeah.
But
make it quick.
This. Yeah,
make it quick.
You got to make it quick.
You're banned or you're exempt?
Like I'm banned in the sense that like I take too long in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So they're like, yo, you got to go. So like I have a dungeon bathroom downstairs that like no one wants to use because it's in a boiler room.
Yeah.
And like they've condemned me to that. They're like, unless you're showering or brushing your teeth, you go down there. So they just send me away, and like they use it as a punishment amongst themselves. They're like, yo, like, you didn't clean the bathroom. You got to use the daddy bathroom downstairs for the whole day.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah.
I mean, having a dungeon bathroom is the next logical step from having an outdoor urinal in your backyard.
I'm proud of it.
It's great.
It's cool. But after taking a lot of, like, smack talk about it, I have been, like, stepping this game up. I'm cleaning it. I got a little, like, spray aerosol thing that goes off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's still scary, but it's clean.
You got to make it your own.
Yeah,
you got to settle in.
I'm gonna add some like Ninja Turtle stickers.
I was gonna say, how about some needle points?
Ooh.
Like this house is my home, or
I like that.
number 2 is number 1. Some kind of catchphrase.
If that doesn't exist, that's merch.
Number 2 is number 1.
Number 2 is number 1.
What's better than a satisfying number 2? Honestly.
Oh man. I like that.
I'm sorry this is starting with such a excrement heavy beginning. I was in my head about using my bathroom. We were chatting.
I was facing this way anyway, and I felt like it was like a room away, and like I said, it's like stall green room energy. So like, it was good. It was cool.
Yeah. Well, here we are at Knickerbocker.
Low-key, actually, hold on. Low-key, I think you were doing it like as a courtesy.
Yeah, I didn't want to cut off our conversation.
Yeah, you didn't want to cut off the convo, and this is your place. And Peggy was here being real energetic, so I think you was just like, yo, let me keep an eye on Peggy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You had a lot going on to juggle, so I think you made a good host judgment call.
Well, I appreciate the pass. Thank you.
Talk, man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man, I gotta call it out. I call out good actions when I see them.
How would you describe to the viewer the chaos that surrounds us right now? Do you feel like this is a chaotic environment with the toys and the kitchen, the child's kitchen, and the blankets, and it's a different vibe than when you were here on Saturday. When you were here on Saturday, it was much more tidy because I was living the bachelor life. But my family has returned, and a bomb has gone off. There's an overturned tractor over there.
Don't blame the women, okay? Leave them alone.
It's a group project.
These ladies show up, and now the whole apartment's a wreck. It honestly doesn't. I think it looks worse in your head. It doesn't look like bad at all.
Yeah.
It looks lived in, and it looks like you have a kid.
Like a family lives here.
Yeah, exactly. None of this looks crazy to me.
Okay.
But I also understand the vulnerability of like people seeing my home when I haven't had a chance to make it what I would like to present.
Yeah.
So I know you're going through that.
Well, it's too bad you can't do what we do with the green screen with the podcast in real life. Like,
that'd be fire.
Like you can control your Zoom background. You're going on a Zoom meeting or a Zoom work call or whatever. You can make it look like you live on the beach.
I dig that.
If we could do that, man, if we could do that in real life, you could just make the person see you. I mean, I guess there's plenty of ways to do that people do with emotional tactics or psychological tactics.
But no, I think you're good, man. It just looks like and real talk, on top of that, it would literally take you like, I would say 8 minutes to make this normal.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
what you had before, because most of it is just toys out.
yeah.
Like it's not wild, B. You good?
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
I
man.
appreciate that.
And on top of that, being frank, if it was, I'd have been like, yo, like you good? Like that would have been my first question when I walked in. Like, everything okay? Yeah, you know what I mean?
Do you do that? That's one of my jobs. One of my professional jobs is to go into people's homes and make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
Essentially. And I have to find delicate ways to ask that question. If you did go to a friend's house and it looked chaotic, or the curtains were drawn, the blinds were down, sink full of dishes, unflushed toilet, they looked unshowered and unkempt.
Yeah.
You would feel comfortable to say, "Is everything okay?"
Hell yeah, 100%.
Like,
No worries about that at all. I feel like different people got different roles in life, but
Yeah.
that's mine. I feel like I'd be comfortable calling it out. I feel like my tone and the way I say things for some reason lands right.
Yeah.
With those type of moments. So yeah, I think it's important to call it. Sometimes people just need to talk. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, they're waiting for somebody to say,
just
"Hey, are
someone
you
to say
okay?"
it. And you know what I mean? I feel like that's a genuine like duty of a friend to like call that out. If it's not a friend, I probably wouldn't call it out, but I would tell someone that is.
Yeah.
And I've done that as well. Like, yo, like I'll leave a crib and I'll be like, hey, yo, you should probably pop in on homie. You know, I can't say for certain because I know the regular, but that looked a little off.
Yeah.
And I've done that too.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, it's the job.
I have to, with the professional version of that, there's some clients where it's like, we already have that as a checklist conversation. It's like, have you showered? What time did you get up? Did you take medicine? All that kind of stuff. But there are some other ones where you have to be kind of careful because they don't like the feeling of being watched or assessed.
Right.
So in my real life with real friends, I mean, luckily, I guess I haven't really had to look out for that kind of stuff lately. But yeah, that means that's a great thing that you're able to do that, and like people know that they can go to you if they do want to open up or share about something going on.
Yeah, I would say in like you know, everybody got like different friend groups, and the ones that I'm like most involved in, like I became a dad first in terms of like the two groups. So like in a lot of ways, like I'm unofficially like the first adult.
Yeah.
So not most adult necessarily, but I'm definitely like the first dad.
Yeah.
In a lot of those circles. So like, you know, when I say something like that, like they know it's coming from a place of caring.
Right.
And a place of also I've been there.
Yeah.
Like, I know what it's like to have like a lot going on and trying to figure it out. So yeah, like I've noticed a few times I go to somebody's crib that it's like a hectic day. So like might, and it's not necessarily like I'm not dealing with what you dealt with as at your job. So it's never something as extreme as like I'm worried about like their safety, but more so just like, yo, like you good? You want to just get out of here for a little bit and like, you know, get a coffee outside because they just need to step off of it. And
you could do my job. That's one of the big moves is like, you want to go for a walk and get a smoothie?
Boom. Yo, real talk, man.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let me ask you this. You're the parent of teens.
Yeah.
I was just on the train this morning coming from one of those jobs. I was coming back here and I was listening to a podcast, but I could hear the tone of a mother and child fighting, a mother and a teen.
Okay.
Truth be told, I actually couldn't quite make out the teen's gender. I guess it doesn't matter. Very, very non-binary vibes. Probably a 16 or 17-year-old, and the mom and the kid are like aggressive folded arms next to each other, sitting like we are, shouting at each other, but not looking at each other.
Okay.
And it had the tone of like, well, I told you to do X, Y, and Z, and well, you always say that, blah, 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 like aggressive fighting, and then some periods of silence, and just angry at each other. What do you do? How do you handle public outbursts with your kids? Do you even receive them? Yeah.
Like, we don't really do that. Like,
yeah.
So it's funny you mentioned. So I've been talking with my kids a lot about this. I feel like I used to have a temper problem, and I've tried really hard to work on that. I would say I lose my temper once every like year to 2 years now.
Yeah.
For the most part, I'm pretty chill.
What is that, man? Do you punch holes in walls?
No, but like, I definitely get loud. And I'm definitely making worse decisions. I'm not against punching holes in the wall at that moment. But it just hasn't happened in a situation like that. More so like, something annoys me, and because I'm right, I will correct it. I will overcorrect the thing. And I'll give an example. So like this past week, we were out as a fam, and I was like, yo, let me get some Popeyes for the family so we don't got to cook today. I park in the parking lot, and it's one of those Popeyes, Burger King adjacent places.
Yeah.
And I parking lot legitimately could have space for like 100 cars. Huge parking lot. And there's like 6 cars. And I park awkwardly in a way that kind of makes it the butt of my car get into the beginning of the drive-thru. The drive-thru has space for literally 8 cars.
Yeah.
So my butt doesn't actually prevent the drive-thru from being used, but it does change the very, very beginning of that.
Yeah.
No one is in the drive-thru. No one is in the Burger King side. The drive-thru is only for the Burger King side. When I get inside, there's only people for Popeyes. No one's eating Burger King. And I mean that literally max. Like, no single customer is getting Burger King, even though there are people there, and I'm sure people will show up later.
Yeah.
But at that moment, there were no Burger King customers, only Popeyes customers. I wait 2 people. There's 2 people ahead of me. 2 people are gone already. And before it's my turn, Gabby texts me saying that somebody aggressively knocked on the car window, said we got to move the car because we're blocking.
Yeah, so the family's in the car.
Right. The family's in the car. My wife, the kids are in the car. And they're like, yo, we're blocking the Burger King driveway. They want us to move the car. And I didn't read her tone, but she was actually being funny about it because in her perspective, the person knocked, but she saw how silly it was, that there was nobody in the way. But I was already, for a variety of reasons of like being an adult man and a homeowner, I'd already used up my patience for the day.
Right,
you know?
right.
So like,
and also, I'm assuming this was during one of our 95-degree days.
Bro, so it's beaming hot. I'm outside. I'm waiting. I pre-ordered my Popeyes, but I'm still waiting in a line. All of this was annoying me.
Yeah.
And now I got to give up my spot to go back outside to move this car.
No.
So I go out. I get in the car. I slam the door. And like, I felt in my heart that the right answer was to move my car into the drive-through fully and leave it there, and then go get my Popeyes
as a protest.
Like that, and like I promise you, Patrick, in every other moment in my life, that's what I would have done. Like I felt it. Like
it just made sense.
It makes sense.
The
like,
justice.
There's no one here. I just left. I saw that there's no one inside either. You literally have nothing to do. In fact, all of your employees at Burger King could have came out and picked up my car and moved it. That's how busy you are.
Was it an employee who
It was
knocked?
an employee from Burger King that knocked on the car.
Yeah.
So we got to move it. So everything in me was like, yo, just drive this car right up to the parking spot, right up to the drive-through window.
Yeah, go to the window.
Shit.
Yeah.
Leave it. And Gabby saw it in me. And like I was heated. I slammed the door, and the kids, like, they don't see me angry off.
Yeah.
So they felt like, yo, this is weird.
Because a seething dad has a certain vibe.
Yeah.
That affects the whole atmosphere. Even if you're confused about why is dad seething right now.
It's a thing.
But I know I'm uncomfortable around it.
Yeah. And they also know that like I if I am angry, it's usually like a thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm tight. I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna let it. I move the car, I park, I slam the door, I go back inside, I get my food, I come back in, I hand Gabby the food, and I turn on the car and I just say, I'm so thankful for you fucking kids, yo. And Ada was like, what? And I was like, I'm not gonna explain. I'm just happy you here. I made a different decision because y'all are here.
Yeah.
And then and he was like so confused by it. He's like, because he's not he couldn't feel he didn't. He doesn't feel that stuff like that.
If I were them, I would assume what you were saying is that you didn't knock somebody out. Like you didn't get physically violent with somebody. I would have jumped to that conclusion.
So Michaela kind of puts together like, oh, Dag's mad about something. Aiden, like, he doesn't like read that stuff well. So like for him, he was just like, I don't know what just happened. Dad just came in and said he's thankful for us in a weird tone.
Dad didn't mow down a group of Burger King employees.
So we like go and like literally like it took 3 days later for me to like express that.
Yeah.
To Michaela asked me about it, and like I told her, and then I told Aiden, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we get it." And I was like, "Yeah, like you know, like my dad, great dude, genuinely appreciate what he did for me as a parent, but that's one of the flaws I felt he had, and I've seen him slowly get better at it, but still not what I would have wanted." So I kind of like made a choice of like, yo, I'm not gonna be that kind of parent in front of y'all.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so know that if I've yelled at you, I thought about that a lot.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Both of them said I have to, like, being real, every time you've yelled at us, it's been our fault.
Yeah.
So like they know like I don't just like pull that card out of nowhere.
Right.
And I was like, and on top of that, anytime I've yelled at you, it's been controlled. Like I'm not just screaming to let off. Like I'm letting you know like I'm loud for a reason. I'm controlled. I'll be calm the second this convo's done. But you need to understand that like all the other measures I took to communicate to you have not worked.
Yeah.
Whereas this is different. Like I didn't have control. I'm gonna lose it, and I'm gonna do something that I can't walk back and that I won't be calm for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I don't like that feeling. I feel like I make worse decisions when I get there. So I was like, let me step off.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I started playing out the scenario. Like, what would have happened? I would have parked my car there. I would have won. Or that guy's like me, and then he spazzes out and does something bigger. Now I got to do something bigger than that to keep winning this duel.
Or some X Factor arrives behind you in the drive-thru, and they're upset that they can't get their
food. Yeah. Now I'm in jail over like a Burger King drive-thru. It don't even make sense. I'm explaining that story in jail. You know? What I mean?
No, and you know what it would be? It would be a guy behind you who just wants one cheeseburger and a chocolate shake and the chicken junior, because he goes there, he thinks if he gets a little chicken with the cheeseburger, it's healthier, and then the milkshake nobody has to know about. And he does this ritualistically every time he leaves QED in Astoria, and he goes to get on the BQE, and that man is me. And if there was just some guy protesting the drive-thru, I become an angry dad because I can't get my milkshake.
Yeah, bro.
Which, by the way, I drove past that Burger King twice.
I love that burger.
This week, and I did not go and get the milkshake. I'm still going strong with no junk food.
Well done.
I'm on, I guess today's like day 50-ish or something. I got to look at my calendar. I told Ross on Saturday or Sunday, whenever I saw them again, I was like, I went past Burger King, and I didn't go to the drive-thru, and I'm so proud of myself.
Oh, man.
And I didn't realize how much, how much my body craves that shit, man.
Oh, it's a drug, bro. It gets you, man.
And I will eat. I'll say, just to be clear, I'm not like I had McDonald's on my recent road trip. I've had other fast food since. I'm just avoiding the chocolate shakes and the ice cream.
Right.
So I'm getting there. I was talking about this on stage the other night. I was like, yeah, I have like. I was just chatting with the crowd because there was like 8 people, and I said something like, I'm like a bad sugar addict. I'm trying to cut this stuff out. Does anybody else relate? And this guy said yes, and I was like, what are you into? And he was like, oh, for me it's Cape Cod potato chips. And I was like, oh, well, that's what I've been eating in replacement. Like I've gone to now just salty junk food. So I'm sharing that so that the listener isn't like, oh, here goes another perfectionist superiority complex, I eat better than you person. I'm slowly making changes, and right now I'm just not eating
we regular dudes,
the sweet junk foods.
Real talk, we just regular people.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you survived that and your family survived that and the Burger King survived that. How was the Popeyes?
It was solid. Popeyes is consistent, man. Real talk, they don't get praised enough.
Yeah, I'll get it. I'll get the quarter. Do they do by the quarters? I'll get the chicken and biscuit.
There you go.
I
Yeah.
love that shit.
I think their sandwiches is legitimately king of the chicken sandwiches in terms of
Yeah.
the fast food places.
I like that it comes in that foil envelope.
Yeah.
Like it's like a FedEx wrapper.
Yo, all their sides are fire, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
It's the only place that I rock with the coleslaw.
Yeah.
The rice and beans is like, it feels homemade. I feel like somebody's aunt gave me that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mashed potatoes is fire. The fries are like dope, but like I honestly rather get like some of the other stuff.
Yeah.
It feels
Yeah.
like more homey when I eat it. You know what I mean?
And that is the best when you decide as a family, we're not cooking. Let's just do this. And it's just a feast
Yeah.
that nobody had to work too hard for.
Yeah, that's kind of like what we've been doing in terms of eating healthier. Like instead of like we're kind of saying like, yo, like nobody like should buy this stuff on their own, and we're not keeping snackish foods in the house.
Yeah.
And if we want to have a quote unquote junk food thing, it's a family experience, and like a decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, you know what? Like
This is a special treat.
This is a special treat, but like
That's-
we eating this other stuff instead.
Yeah, the special treat aspect of junk food totally disappeared for me. Like, I was listening to somebody talk about ice cream, how it's like, yeah, ice cream's a treat. If you have it, like, you can have it sometimes to celebrate something. I was literally having a pint of ice cream by myself every single night. Like,
That's wild.
just getting off the train, hitting up the bodega, like, this is what I need right now. It's not even fun or celebratory. It's just I'm just numbing out and checking out to the sugar. And I'm like, yeah, that I don't know if I am capable of being a person who can just celebrate with a little bit of ice cream. Like, will that just make me a daily ice cream eater again? You know? So yeah, to make it a thing, that's great.
Yeah, it's been a challenge. Gabby and Aiden, I think, are better at like eating a little bit of something.
Yeah.
Myself and I think Michaela, from what I've noticed, we have like more an inclination of like, don't have it here, I'm fine. But if it's here, I want all of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that this has kind of been like a happy medium where like anytime Gabby has a craving, like she likes being able to get anything. So I've promised her, yo, if you want it, I don't care what time, I'll go get it.
Yeah.
But in turn, like I can't have it in the house because like it hurts me. Like I'll be disciplined all day. You'll go to bed, and now I'm alone with all of your snacks.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna eat them.
Yeah.
They here, but if they're not here, I wouldn't eat it. You know what I mean?
Here's a journey I'm at the beginning of, and we are as a family. So Franny's at Nature Camp Day 2.
Nature Camp, baby.
So we heard your opinion on Nature Camp. It is crazy. It is crazy. I brought her to this public park yesterday morning for drop off. A public park I'm familiar with. I've enjoyed this park before.
This is amazing.
Yeah. Well, listen to this though. Show up at this park. I won't say the park. I don't need my kid getting kidnapped by our 3 viewers. It's a public park. I bring her in. The grass hasn't been mowed in at least a month. The grass is getting too high. The person in charge gave us instructions for how to apply sunscreen in the morning and bug spray if they're sensitive to bugs.
Right.
So both mornings I've sprayed her down, brought her in. The grass is too high, and then there's like piles of charcoal from people's like cookouts
and all that. Yeah.
And like I'm a very liberal person. I'm like people should live however they're gonna live, but I am also one of those people that's like, you got to clean up after yourself. You're gonna have a good time somewhere. Go nuts. Do whatever you want. Have as many dicks in the room as you want. I don't care. But just clean up with yourself. Just also not during my daughter's nature camp. But there's piles of charcoal on the ground, and I'm like, is she just gonna be avoiding landmines of charcoal all day? And then like, yeah, drop her off, and like there's a few other parents and like other kids are starting to arrive, and Franny's good at saying goodbye, so I can just be like, all right, have fun, good luck. Yeah. And I like walk away, and I'm like, there's my kid just at the park for 6 hours. Like, what is gonna happen? I know they have like activities and crafts and play and sprinkler, and she's also in a they instruct you to drop them off in a bathing suit because they'll be playing in the water all day. Anyway, the journey I'm getting at is the meal packing. So this is the first time we've ever packed lunch for her for the day. So she got her new Barbie lunchbox, and I yesterday Ross did it, and this morning I did it. We packed it with some carrots and cucumbers and cheese stick and some oranges, and we're just like this morning I'm just like throwing in a bunch of stuff. I'm like, I don't even know, like, I mean, of course we ask her, what do you want? But like, we're just like making it up. Do you remember that phase of like packing lunch and like, and I was just thinking like, this is going to be my life now for the next, I guess, at least 10 years. I don't know when they start buying lunch at school or what.
Usually like junior high school.
Handling it themselves or whatever. But for at least the next 5 to 10 years, I'll be like doing this kind of thing every morning. And it feels weird to be like, oh yeah, I have to like make sure she's set up to be nourished all day while I'm not with her.
Yo, I love all this for you. One, first of all, more dicks, less charcoal, Patrick 2024. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's a better platform than anything anybody else is proposing.
I'm pro that all day. Second, this nature camp, biggest ripoff in the world. I every time you bring it up, I will stress it. You know, and like
the scam is real.
You know, because like what you just like, this is what I'm thinking as a parent. If there's a nature camp going on, take your kid, drop them off anyway.
Adjacent
to the camp. Let them have everything they doing. You could do for free.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I promise you, if you are in charge of a nature camp and there's a kid there that's not your kid, you might say, "Yo, you're not part of the camp." But if something happens to that kid,
you're there. Yeah.
You're there. You got to take care of that kid because otherwise nobody gonna bring kids to your camp. So you getting free value.
I mean, I could just start a freeloading nature camp
straight up
for half the money, and then I say there won't be caretakers for my freeloading camp, but I know where the other caretakers are,
Whoa!
So we'll get them close enough.
Done deal. You know what I mean? But yeah, three, I think everybody should be lunchboxing. Like, I feel like it's a chance to show personality. One of my best friends, my boy Mark Salonga, I got him a Ghostbusters lunchbox a few years back for his birthday, and when he got promoted to like manager at a bank, and it's just cool. Like I think you know, as an adult, you know, we stop bringing these things because they're like childish, but I actually think it's like a fun little thing that like even if you're in a corporate job, it'd be kind of like cool and it's a conversation point. It keeps you young.
Yeah, and I like stickers. Like I like when somebody gives me stickers. I want to sell stickers on the road. But I don't know where to put them now. Like people do the laptop thing or the water bottle thing. I don't like doing either of those things. But if I had a lunchbox, I'd put some stickers on there.
Lunchbox, you know what I mean?
When we make our number 2 is number 1 sticker, put it on your lunchbox.
Yo, real talk. Put it on the lunchbox.
Because your lunch will lead to a number 2.
Real talk. Look at that. I love it. Comes full circle. I love packing lunches for my kids.
If you got a lunchbox, would you do the soft insulated one that keeps things cold, or would you do like the old school metal one that like a construction worker uses?
I would do old school plastic.
Oh yeah.
I like the metals is dope, but like the era that I grew up in, they had already pivoted to plastic for money. So like the nostalgia for me, that would be it. I would get like a Ninja Turtle one. I want the thermal too, the little thermal.
Oh yeah,
the whole thing. Like I like it. My dad worked my dad used to like own a bodega, so I used to get like crazy heroes every day for lunch. It was dope. I had like the most like trading power ever at lunch. It was fire. Like you know what I mean? I was an
Italian sub has good resale value at the lunchroom.
I was the king in there. I was like, yo, this dude got 2 Snapples.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Coming out it was wild.
Man, in middle school, I became I bought lunch most days. In high school for a while, I learned that I could just pocket the lunch money from my mom if I like made a turkey sandwich or whatever.
Yeah.
But in middle school, that's when they made fresh baked chocolate chip cookies. Like they made it in this oven that had a conveyor belt, like where one end the batter would go down and the other end a cookie would come out.
Yo, that's
and it was like 50 cents a cookie or something, and it's like the chocolate was melting. That's when I became. I think I really that was when my sweet tooth took off. It was like I need that cookie every single day. no negotiating. I gotta have it. So yeah, packing lunch you can control a little bit.
Yeah, I felt like strategically, I think a lot of people approach packing the lunch wrong.
Yeah.
I believe you should encourage healthy eating.
Yeah.
I think that's important. I think lunch is the wrong time to go heavy on the things they don't want to eat. I think that there's too many other influences, and there's other variables that you can't control that'll get them to either not eat that. I don't want a kid being like, ew, like carrots to my kid.
Yeah,
that my
yeah.
kid already doesn't want to eat. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and then you become the family. They're like, I'm not even gonna ask her for what she's got because I know it's grass and pebbles,
Yo, that's just
grains.
Weird. Yeah, so like I don't know. I felt like lunch was the time to give them stuff that they enjoyed that I knew was healthy, and then my job as a parent is like during dinner to balance that out.
Yeah.
So like lunch was usually like PB and J. We'll do like a whole grain bread with like natural peanut butter and some like blueberries.
Yeah.
And that'll be like a kind of naturalish peanut butter sandwich.
Yeah.
They enjoy it. It's easy. 8 and 1 banana instead of blueberries. But,
oh, nice.
You know what I mean? It's a filling sandwich with like real ingredients. You know what I mean? We would peel and leave a clementine in it.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know what she did last? Speaking of clementines, you know what she did last night? She ate 3 in a row.
Yo.
Like just like peeled it, ate one, and was like, I want another one. Did it again. Did it 3 times. Like these like binging, like I don't know if it's a growth spurt situation or that she was outside all day. She was just ravenous for clementines.
You know, I was reading a study about like these babies that like they were at the age where they could all crawl.
Yeah.
And they had formula for the babies that like met their dietary needs, but for the most part were bland in taste.
Yeah.
With small variables. So like one would have more salt than the other. One would have like, you know, other things of that nature. And if a baby was lacking that, it would naturally go to the right one.
Wow.
Like they kind of like their body kind of tells them, yo, this is what I'm missing. I got to go to this formula.
Yeah.
And like, I just think that's dope. Like your daughter, like her body.
She needed
I need
some
more of this.
citric acid.
Yeah, yo. Vitamin C, hydration.
Yeah.
Like, and that's kind of our jobs as parents that I realize we can do better than our parents.
Just give options.
Yeah, give options and let them learn what the natural answer is to that. Whereas like our parents use that as a chance to spoil us.
Yeah, yeah.
Like food became a reward instead of like a thing that you need to like live. Know what I mean?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But I like you're talking about strategy with packing the lunch because it's like I don't love giving her gummies like Welch's gummies or whatever, fruit snacks or whatever. But that is a high value tradable thing.
Word up.
So when she's locked up for the day, I want her to be able to have some currency to get by in prison.
Yo, she got that. You gotta make moves in there, B. You know what I mean?
I want her to be
cigarettes at a nature camp.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I want her to be a player and not a chump.
Real talk, man. Come on, man.
Oh, you got me thinking because I mean I put hummus in there today.
Yo,
carrots.
Can we write a nature camp sitcom that's like Oz?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be fire, yo.
Like, how long you been in here? I've been in this nature camp for 3 seasons.
I've been in this game for years. Yo.
I started nature camp in the pandemic because they needed social distancing. We couldn't even hold hands.
Yo, you ain't a real one, okay? You wasn't down from day one. We had to be 3 feet away in my day, okay?
Yeah.
That's our whole size, you know what I mean? It fell further for me at that time.
Somebody put my face into the charcoal, and now I'm the one who puts other people's faces in charcoal.
I love this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole. I'm curious if it's just going to be a full-on Lord of the Flies situation by the end of nature camp. Have they overthrown and usurped the adult caretakers? Are the kids in charge?
I don't even think the adults are there, bro. I think as soon as you leave, they're like, all right, we good?
Yeah. They're just like running errands.
Real talk. All the people leave.
Yeah.
Like they trust the general public.
I literally, we still don't know what the plan is for rain. I'm like, it's a big tree I dropped her off under. Like, it's a big tree.
How well do you know this lady? Like
Very well.
Okay.
She's an old friend. She's done this. I think she's been doing this specific nature camp for like 10 years.
Okay.
We know other people who have done it with her. We don't know other children that survived it, but everyone survives it.
I just find it because it's like, yo, like you shouldn't leave your kid with a stranger, but you'll pay to leave your kid with a stranger.
Yeah.
Like that whole.
I still haven't told you. I'm going to tell you off mic how much it cost and how the deposit system worked. Because this felt crazy.
Like, yo, bury that shit outside, B.
Yeah. Like geotag it. We do a geotagging challenge with your money.
Well, it's all a kid that finds it gets free tuition
Yeah.
right there. They get it back. Everybody else, we keep your money, okay?
And also, today I drop her off, and I got to park. I like illegally parked. I got my flashers on, and luckily, like I said, my kid is great with goodbyes, so it's like I'm back to my car in 5 minutes. But as I'm leaving, I'm realizing they're doing major construction at the park. Like, I think they're taking down the restroom complex in the middle and like replacing it or something. There's some kind of major overhaul happening, and I'm just like, what is going on? Like, Ross thinks I'm overthinking all of this, but you know.
You left your kid at a union workshop, bro.
Yeah, like I'm gonna go back. She's gonna have a hard hat on. She's gonna be doing the manual labor.
Real talk, yo. She a teamster right now. So
Yeah,
that's fire.
I'm hoping today when I pick her up, I can swing by the public pool and jump in the water with her because it's hot out. The pools are open. Ross and I have a date night tonight.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
What you guys got going on?
We're finally gonna go back to bathhouse.
Hell yeah.
The sauna. We were supposed to go back in May, but I think that might have been when I got COVID. I can't quite remember. One of us got sick and we had to cancel. Right, so that's who I was on the phone with when you came. I was doing the reservation.
Oh, right.
So we got a sitter coming tonight. We literally hired a sitter for tonight.
That's beautiful.
So I don't know. It's like that weird time I picked Franny up at 3 p.m. It's a couple more hours till dinner time. I got to get in one of these pools. I love the public pool scene in New York City. It's such a scene. She loves it. She learned to swim recently. All right, she's learning. I want to keep trying to help her figure it out. And I also think after she's out in the dirt, I mean, she came home filthy yesterday too. Nature camp, you get dirty.
Oh yeah.
She had, and by the time I saw her, she was sort of washed off a little bit. But she had red paint on her thigh, and I was like, "Oh, did you guys paint today?" And she's like, "No, we didn't paint." I'm like, "Well, what is on you?" And I was like, "It's red." And she then realized how funny it would be to tell me that it's blood, and I'm like, "Is it blood or is it paint?" Because I gotta know what that is on you. I never did get a clear answer.
That's awesome.
So anyway,
I love this.
She's gonna be a changed woman by the end of this. And she's going for 2 weeks right now, and then we'll go back to Connecticut for a couple weeks, and then I think she's doing 1 more week in August or something, or 2 more. I don't know. We got a couple of sessions booked for nature
that's
camp.
dope, man. I tease, but like that's kind of fire. We weren't in a place financially where like we could do a lot of the stuff like that when they were younger.
Yeah.
And it's one of the few regrets I have as a parent that like I wish I would have put them in like sports and clubs and stuff like that, and just general like ways of them associating with other kids outside of school. I think that would have been dope. So yeah, I think Franny will be better for it. She'll have some weird memories when she's older. My dad left me at the park. You know what I mean? With these kids, I think that's dope.
She will definitely have weird memories because I have weird memories. We had summer recreation program, summer rec, which was through school. It was a public school. County, I don't know if it's a state or county subsidized program where I think my mom could literally, I got to ask her, how much did that cost? It was probably like $100 for like 4 or 6 weeks or something.
Okay.
Where every single day we went to the middle school in the morning, like same time as school starts, fuck around for like 2 hours, like play kickball, baseball, whatever. And then we got on a bus, and then we got driven to New Paltz to go to the public pool there for like, my memory, it felt like we were there for all day, but it was probably like 2 or 3 hours. Like it was probably short, probably like 2 hours at the pool or something. Then get back on the bus, come back to my town, and then go home at 3:30 or whatever. Like I said, it was like normal school hours.
Yeah.
And we did this for years. Like every summer, we did summer rec.
Wow.
And it was so cheap. It must have been cheap. I mean, you probably had to pay some small fee, but yeah, you got free lunch. You got to go to the pool, but all kinds of crazy stuff went down. Like, as a young kid, I was shy and whatever. But by the time I was older, I was like, I was a bad kid at summer rec. I eventually became a bad kid. And there was the guy in charge was like obsessed with what was the movie? Oh, it's called Slapshot. It's a white people comedy from the early 80s, late 70s. I think Richard Dreyfuss, I think, is in Slapshot. Okay. Anyway, it's a hockey-based, like, farcical, silly comedy film. But this guy was obsessed with it, and he would quote, and there's some, like, drill sergeant type character in that movie, and this guy who was in charge wanted to be that guy so bad, and he would, and one of the things was he would call you hockey puck. He'd be like, "Come on, hockey puck," and he would yell at us, and that made us hate him. So we would like do pranks against this guy, and one of the punishments was to hold the wall. Like if you got in trouble, you had to literally put your hands against the wall, like stop and frisk style.
Okay.
And you would have to stand there for whatever determined time for whatever thing you did.
Jeez. Okay.
So yeah, it's just years and years of us versus him, and I had my little crew of troublemakers. It's weird how when you put your own kid through certain scenarios or you bring them to certain things, it just all of a sudden you start thinking of when you did that thing. So like dropping her off has me thinking about summer rec, and like now she's in this innocent phase, and I was always so innocent and shy and sensitive when I was little, but then somewhere around like 5th, 6th grade, I became such a fucking punk ass. And
yeah, I got to tell you, none of that sounded positive.
No.
Like, yeah, this is my daughter. It reminded me of when I did the same thing. Hated the whole experience, and I hated who I became as a person during that time. Can't wait to hear how it does for my daughter.
Well, I will say, you know what I loved? I truly... No, it was pure misery, but I hope she likes it. No, I am proud of my mom for always putting us in situations where we really did just kind of have to figure it out for ourselves a little bit.
That's
like
vital.
You got to like go to this new environment. Like it was at a school. I mean, I guess it was at the middle school before I was even in middle school. But like, yeah, you got to like get through the day and like be around a bunch of kids and play a bunch of sports and exercise and run around. But man, I loved getting on the bus and driving to the pool. Like I had a Walkman back then. I had like 3 cassettes that I listened to on repeat.
Okay.
And like music became really important to me during that time.
Oh yeah.
And like that thing of like, and now I'm like witnessing Franny do this where if we're blasting her favorite band, which I think I mentioned is Imagine Dragons.
Oh yeah.
If we're like we listened to the whole live album the other day going to the beach, blasting it. She only wants it loud. And I'll look back and she's just staring out the window and like bopping a little bit to it and sometimes singing along. And like, it reminds me of summer rec. I would just like blare the music in my ears, stare out the window. If I wasn't fucking around with my friends, like if it was quiet time, I just loved that feeling as a kid, like zoning out to tunes, you know?
Yeah, it's vital. I think more people should do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've noticed my kids kind of be doing that more. Like every now and then when we like call for them, they don't hear us, and it's because they have headphones on.
Oh yeah.
They're listening to stuff. So like, yeah, it starts to happen around that age. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so something good came from the camp. I'm happy for you.
Yeah,
you know
yeah. I did have I probably went for too long. I wonder if it was I went for too long. It must have been the last summer I went. I had like a legitimate like power struggle with one of the main counselors.
Whoa.
This guy Phil, who I saw in adulthood, and I finally was able to say to him like, "Hey man, I was horrible as a kid, and I'm so sorry. Because these are just like high school kids who are the counselors,
Right,
you know?
right. Like they're still young.
Yeah. And I just got into such a battle of wits. I don't think it was ever physical. I don't think I ever like lashed out at this guy physically, but I was really cruel. Like when I learned how I could say mean things to mess with people, like I would go for like people in authority too. And him and I just got like hated each other this whole summer, and one day something happened. I can't remember what happened, but I like disappeared. I like left the camp and just walked home because it was all in my same town.
Right.
And like my mom was called, and it was like a whole dramatic thing. And yeah, I'm just like, damn, like I for some reason was just between those ages of I guess like 10 and 13 or whatever.
Right.
Or 14 maybe. I was just like raging with this like anti-authority energy, and like what perfect place to like act out than at summer camp where the stakes are in reality pretty low, but
Right.
when you're in it as a kid it feels like, yeah, I'm damning the man. I'm making a big point here. And really they're just like, dude, like if you don't want to go to the pool, just
Don't go to the pool. Yeah.
don't come.
How did he take that?
It was, so this must have been 8 or 9 years ago. I went home to run the Shamrock Scramble,
Okay.
which is the big 5K running race, the day of the St. Patrick's Day parade in my hometown, which is a huge event.
By run, you mean running it physically?
Yeah, like
not
jogging.
Like,
No, I wasn't
okay.
producing. I left my producer's hat at home.
Okay.
Yeah, I was running. I think Ross and I did it together that year.
Oh, dope.
And he was there online for the pancake breakfast at the Firehouse, which is a huge event in Wallkill, New York. Pancake breakfast. Everybody shows up. And Phil was there, and
You make this town sound so small.
it is. It's quaint. It's quaint.
Everybody shows up. All 16 of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're here.
Joe Pera actually shot, I think Dan Licata. He might have been in it too. They shot a really funny, I don't know if it wasn't a sketch. It was more like a mini doc
Yeah.
about this exact firehouse. And it's so funny to see that they found this random pancake breakfast in my hometown. Anyway, yeah, Phil was there waiting online, and I said, hey, and basically he's like that. I'm so ashamed of how I behaved for that chunk of time of my life.
Yeah.
That it has come up in my like step work, like when you do the 12 steps. I didn't even drink back then, but you kind of like, you basically write down things that take up space in your mind, you know, like things you're ashamed of or ways you've harmed other people. And you know, everybody knows in the movies when you go make amends to somebody or whatever. And he was on the list, and I didn't say anything about like program or sobriety or anything. I just really wanted to express myself to him that like I recognize that I made life hard for you, and I was a punk, and I'm really sorry. And you know, I don't want to be like that with anybody else in my life. So it's good to see it. I think I just said some combination of that kind of stuff, and he was like, dude, it's like ancient history, and we're all, you know, at that age, we're all figuring it out. And you know, he was very gracious, and
that's beautiful, man.
Yeah, seems like a great guy with a nice life for himself. And my ego is too big to think that he even thinks about that anymore. Anyway,
What was his name, man?
Phil.
Yo,
Yeah.
Phil. Anytime you want to fuck Patrick up, let me know, B. Okay.
Yeah.
You owe him a good one. Patrick's my homie, but I get that. Okay.
Yeah.
Real talk. Just one square one. It's cool, B. Tell him, yo, Patrick, today's the day. You gotta take one on the chin.
That I do see the argument for corporal punishment in that way.
Yeah, like real talk.
Like if he wasn't a counselor,
yeah,
like somebody would have given me a backhand smack at least, or a wedgie, an atomic wedgie.
that's honestly like what I'm hearing. Like, I mean, and again, this is a one-off scenario. There's more variables, but like whenever I see someone acting up like that, there's a lack of having seen real stakes personally.
Yeah.
Like a real dangerous situation, or like a reason to like understand why authority is needed. And they haven't been checked, like in terms of like physically, like you've never been hit in the face by someone that's like, yo,
Yeah.
don't do that. And I'm not talking about like a beat down. I'm not talking about like something that's like permanently damaging, but like there is a real consequence to offending somebody.
Immediate consequences.
Yeah, that like, yo, like there's only so much you could say to certain people.
Yeah.
And like I genuinely think that's what being a competent adult is. It's like, yo, how do we solve this without us having to do that?
Right.
And most adults figure that out in almost every scenario.
Yeah.
And kids don't have those tools yet. That's all that is. You know what I mean? So like kids learn that. But like first, you know, certain kids learn the consequence part of it. Other kids learn that later. But like that's all it is. Like at some point, somebody got to pop you in the face and say, yo, like you can't do that no more. Because if you get too far, this could happen. And then the other extreme of it, like when you leave camp and you run away from home, that's every time I've heard that, that's someone that did not live in East New York, Brooklyn.
Right.
Well, if I ran away from home, I would be so scared. Like I would go right back home.
Yeah.
So fast.
That's your safe space.
Yeah, that's my safe space. So like when like my parents didn't have to tell me, yo, like don't walk through. I don't want to walk through the neighborhood. I know it's out
there's
there.
no better option than here, buddy.
Right here, this is the crib. I'm here. I'm chilling. I every time I'm outside, I hear some crazy story about somebody, and all of those stories happen outside. I'm staying inside.
Yeah,
nothing happens. I'm Ninja Turtles and pizza inside. I'm
Hell
chilling.
Yeah.
Nah, B.
I didn't realize how important turtles were for you.
Ninja Turtles is my favorite.
We could
Ninja Turtles have changed my life, bro.
All right, let's talk about that next episode a little bit.
Yeah,
we can talk about some childhood pop culture stuff. Because we are toward the end of our episode here. I think we landed on some good platform issues for our 2024 election bid.
He's running
one penis in one room.
Well, you're more penis.
I'm pro less junk at the park. I just want them to clean up the charcoal. Somehow that turned into I think because I said I would accept more penises
more
than
junk, but
trash.
less junk.
Yes. Number twos are number one.
Number two's number one.
And sometimes you got to pop somebody in the face.
Sometimes you got to pop somebody in the face.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Peace.